Unions fired up after a judge just ruled that teachers can be fired. A California judge striking down tenure, calling it unconstitutional. And Tracy, you say if this decision stands, our kids' grades might jump.
First of all, I love the fact that kids brought this lawsuit up. Yeah. Students brought this up and said, hey, we had these tenured teachers who kind of did nothing. And it's certainly not, I mean, there's some wonderful teachers out there who are not tenured, who are probably like so angry that they don't have the rights. You know, this whole notion of last hire, first fire, there's some arcane rules in our education system. And if we get rid of them, and tenure being one of them, because there's a lot of teachers that are sitting on their butts in classroom because they're tenured, get rid of them. This only helps our kids.
Emily, does tenure and those other kind of protections for teachers hurt kids?
Look, I do think that we are at the beginning. Like, this law was actually pretty specific at what they were looking at during the case. But I do think that we're at the beginning of seeing a lot of changes in the educational system, with children being at the core of it, which is always what we should be, you know, we should really be focused on. But a piece of that I do think is important as we look towards moving forward and preparing our kids for a 21st century economy and world they're living in, at the core is the teaching. That is the most important part of it, right? Like, if we just keep the debate around, oh, do they have iPads in the classrooms? How long is the school days? Those are kind of the edges. The teaching is the core. So there does have to be some sort of security for the teachers. And I think that we're moving around now, and we're changing I think that we're changing the consensus about where that is.
Okay, John, I mean, where else can you get a job guarantee? None of us have it.
Just because you live long enough, you get tenure. That's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Look, Gary B. and you, Brenda, have been on Bulls and Bears a long time. You don't have tenure. If this ever fails to be the greatest TV show in the history of the world, heads are going to roll, as it should. Our education system is failing our kids. We have some great teachers, but they should be rewarded. The bad teachers should be cut. You can't do that when you have tenure.
Okay, Gary B.
Well, you and I, Brenda, are actually violating Tracy's 13-year rule. This is our 15th year with Bulls and Bears.
But we face the ratings every week.
I wanted to make that note. You know, Emily made a good point that teachers need job security, and then bridging to John's point, the job security is continuing to do a good job year after year, just like if you worked at IBM or Google or Marriott or any other company. I can kind of understand tenure at a university level, where they need to have academic freedom and you know, not be beholden to what the university says and be able to go off and do esoteric projects. I get all that. But at the high school level, like John said, I don't understand what tenure does other than guarantee that they can sit back and goof off and just kind of phone in their job performance.
Okay, Jonas.
Tenure definitely is nuts below the college level, but that doesn't mean getting rid of it is going to improve all the woes with school. Because, look, Michigan moved away from tenure, New Hampshire. We got to see what happens over the years with the SAT scores. But right now, like, California's got some of the highest schools with SAT scores there are. So I'm not sure it's going to lead to better students getting rid of this. I know it might lead to higher pay packages because all other things being equal, a job that you can't get fired from is a job you'll do for less money than a job you can get fired from, right? So we're going to have to pay them more to make up for this benefit that was just taken away. That is going to, hopefully there'll be better students out of it, but it is going to raise the cost of salaries because now it's a dangerous job like every other job in the economy.
Okay, Tracy, last word.
I mean, anything that was instituted in 1885, which is when tenure started, pretty much should be abolished by now.
Well, okay, all right. My thanks to Tracy and Emily for joining us.